Hey, what's up, guys? We're back with another NFL record prediction. Before I get started, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Only 11% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed, so let's try to boost that number up a little bit. I'm aiming to hit 300 subscribers by the end of June, so I could really use your help with a subscription. So make sure to do that. And let's go ahead and get into today's prediction. We have the Chicago Bears. I will say first, I really like Justin Fields. Okay, I think he has the highest upside out of any quarterback from the draft. I don't think the whole Ohio State quarterbacks don't work in the NFL thing. I don't believe in that. I think it's more important to judge the player, not the helmet, if that makes sense. Um my concern is that Matt Nagy seems rather sold on excuse me, on having Andy Dalton be the starter for the season instead of Justin Fields. I'm not sure, quite how many games that's going to be, but where he came out and said there's absolutely no chance at all that Justin Fields will be the week 1 starter. Okay? That kind of concerns me because Andy Dalton carrying this team, I think it's still possibly going to be kind of struggling offense. If Justin Fields takes over early on, I think it could be pretty decent. I really do. So, I think it really depends on when he takes over. I'm expecting him to take over probably around a week, probably 6 or 7, I would think. So, yeah, the first 5 or so games are going to be predicted with Andy Dalton. So, week 1, I have them losing to the Rams. I think that's going to be a really defensive battle. I think the Rams are the more complete team. I think they have the better quarterback. I think Aaron Donald is also going to get after the Bears quite a bit. So there's that. I do have the Bears beating the Bengals. I like the direction the Bengals are going. I just don't expect them to be a, 8 or more win team this year. So, week 3, I do have them losing to the Browns. Browns, in my opinion, are one of the best teams in the NFL. I think they could very well go to the AFC Championship again this year, and if they perform well enough, maybe even go to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be an amazing team. I do have the Bears actually sweeping the Lions. I mentioned in my Lions prediction, I think they're headed in a good direction. I just don't think they're anywhere near where they're supposed to be right now. So, then week 5, I'm not real high on the Raiders this year either. I thought it was incredibly dumb of them to completely tear apart their offensive line. They also just have a really struggling defense. And for a team whose offense performed actually pretty well last year, I think it was a really bad idea for them to do this. So I do think the Bears will win that one. So they're going to start off pretty decent. Start off 3-2. I do also think they will split with the Packers. I predicted the Packers to not have Aaron Rodgers, which, if that's the case, I could possibly even see the Bears sweeping them. It's just something I'm not completely sure of right now, and I think the Packers are still a good enough team that they can win one of these without Aaron Rodgers. So I have them splitting. Week 7, I do have them losing to the Buccaneers. This is a case that it's nothing against the Bears. The Bucs just are one of the best teams in the NFL. They're one of the most complete teams, one of the most absolutely dominant defenses, best coached. Obviously Tom Brady, we all know that. I just don't think the Bears will be able to beat the Buccaneers. Week 8, I actually have the 49ers being like the NFC West champions this year, but I think the Bears will win this one. I think it'll be a really defensive battle, and by this time in the year, I could honestly see both Trey Lance and Justin Fields being the starters for these teams. So I think that's going to be a really interesting game to watch. If they are the starters by this time, I'm really intrigued to watch this game. This should be a really interesting game to watch. It honestly gets me really excited for it. Week 9. This game is really hard for me to predict. Both teams have really good defenses. The Steelers have the more experienced quarterback, but the Bears with Justin Fields will have the quarterback with the higher upside. I'm not sure what to predict here. This is actually a really hard one. My thing with the Steelers is that even last year, most of their wins came from teams with, backup quarterbacks, losing records, and just I feel like they lost a lot of consistency as well. I feel like their receivers were too distracted by, all the TikTok junk. I could see that being kind of a similar issue this year. My only thing that's holding me back here is that it is in Pittsburgh in prime time. The Steelers tend to do really well in prime time, especially in Pittsburgh. So that's what's really holding me back here. But the Bengals also beat them in prime time last year. So it's not impossible. I'm going to give Justin Fields the benefit of a doubt and give the Bears the win here. Going to week 11, Ravens at Bears. I think Lamar Jackson is just going to be too mobile and not going to be like the Bears are going to have a hard time containing Lamar Jackson, is what I'm trying to say. Both defenses will get, I think, at least one turnover. I think it's going to be a pretty big defensive battle, but I think Lamar Jackson is just too electric, and I feel like he can do well against the Bears. So I think I'm going to give this one to the Ravens, but that's one I could see going either way. Week 13, we have the Cardinals at Bears. This is a similar situation to the Ravens. Kyler Murray, I just think, Kyler Murray's almost as fast as Lamar. He's really fast, really electric. I think he honestly has more upside as a passer. Honestly, I think he has better weapons. I think I'll give this one to the Cardinals as well, but again, I could see that going either way. Jumping to week 15, I actually have the Bears splitting with the Vikings, so I'll give them wins in their respective stadiums. I could see it going either way there, though. So, Vikings, I feel like, are just in a much better position this year. Obviously, I think the Packers are going to struggle if they don't have Aaron Rodgers. Vikings defense, I feel like, got a lot better. Dalvin Cook should be healthy. Justin Jefferson's already one of the best receivers in the league. I think these teams are both really talented, and really, for Week 18, the Vikings are going to be fighting so hard for a spot in the playoffs that they'll need to win that game. Because, here, I think the Bears will beat the Giants, and then I think the Seahawks will beat the Bears. Okay? I predicted the Vikings to go 11-6. Say that the Bears ended up sweeping the Vikings, okay? make the Vikings 10-7. That would give the Bears the tiebreaker to win the division. So that's why it's so much of a must win for the Vikings. And ultimately, I feel like they're just put together a little bit better right now than the Bears, with having a more experienced quarterback and, in my mind, a much better offense. I think the Vikings will win that one. But, I mean, again, looking back at the schedule, I mean, who knows? If the Packers don't have Aaron Rodgers, Bears could sweep them. They could contain Lamar and Kyler Murray more than I think they will, so they could possibly win those games. There's a lot of games in here I could see them pulling off, but right now I have them at 9-8. I'll have to finish my NFC predictions to see if this is going to be good enough for them to slip into the playoffs, but I think Justin Fields is going to be really, really good for this franchise in the future. I think he's gonna have the best career out of any of the quarterbacks in the 2021 NFL draft. So there's a lot to be excited about, Bears fans. But again, guys, make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe. Again, we're aiming for 300 subscribers by the end of June. So please help me out and smash that like button and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Later.